All right, welcome back to the Parlay Show presented by Bet99. We had pretty good talk there about the NHL, and Game 3 is coming up. It's going to be an interesting one to see if Florida can extend the series, but their fellow South Florida, they're not even arena mates, but nonetheless, just up the road in Fort Lauderdale and down the road into Miami. It is the Miami Heat. Joining me here to talk about some NBA up first in this segment is Albert Vartanian.
Yes,
Albert, and our NHL, I was going to say NHL guru, which you are, but I meant former NHLer and betting guru.
and NHL guru.
And NHL guru, our guy, Matthew Barnaby. So we got the Game 3 coming up. This one's about a pick 'em at this point now, Albert. Shocked to see Miami come back and do what they did in the fourth quarter. But I shouldn't be, because here we are in the NBA Finals, and this team has done it time and time again against better teams, 8th seed. But how are you feeling about this series right now?
I feel like Mike Malone. I'm a little worried. Lack of effort. Imagine calling your team out in the NBA Finals like that, saying this comes down to effort at this point in the season.
You know what? He's been terrified of this. He's been saying this, like, we haven't done anything yet, blah, blah, we can't rest on our laurels. It's
but
like
he's right.
But he's like he knows that this team might be doing that.
But he's feeling a certain way about his players
based
on what
somewhere
he's
in the locker room.
But I wonder, have the Heat kind of figured out how to play Denver? I mean, I was looking at some numbers, and Jokic had his 41 points, 4 assists. Every time, I think that's the least amount this season, but every time in the regular season he had less than 6 assists, they lost the game more often times than not. So I wonder if the Heat are now, let him get his and let him try and limit his distribution. And that's how we're going to win these games. And that's how they won the last one.
Well, that's what Eric Spoelstra kind of was saying. Like, someone asked him, and he was kind of shut down the question. So it was amateur hour, that if we turn him into a passer, they win. And if we turn him into a scorer, they lose. And that's just an amateur looking at it. It's more than that. He can do what he wants and blah, blah. And
I think he was just upset because that's exactly what they did. That was clearly their defensive approach.
Exactly. Barney?
Well, I just think defensively, Denver has to be better. Too many open looks. It was just too easy. And that's the way Miami, we talked about it last week. If Miami's going to win, it has to be ugly. They aren't going to outskill a Denver team. And Denver just wants to play skill basketball. And I think that's what the coach was referring to, and kind of had this in his back pocket. If things do go awry, I'm going to lean on this side and drill it home for them. Listen, they're still the favorites in the series. I had with 10 other guys, we each put $100 in and took seeds 8 through 16. Miami was part of that, and we ended up cashing out. It was zero. Our $1,000 bet was zero after game 1 loss, and went up to $3,750 for game 2. I told everyone cash out, mainly because I have Denver winning in 5 games. Sorry.
All right. Well, I need clarity on this, Barney. So you guys all as buddies put $100 on each, so $1,600.
Yeah. No, $100 a piece, $1,000.
Sorry. Okay, $1,000. So then
we took seeds 8 through 16.
Oh, just the long shots. Gotcha. Okay.
Just the long shots.
All right. So you got whatever at what was the do you remember the odds? Like plus 4,000?
I don't have it now, but if they won before the series, if they won, it was 15,600 or something. Jeez. On Miami.
Wow. Yeah.
And if after game 1 it was 0, before the series was like 4,000. And then it went, when they tied it 1-1, it was like 3,750, something to that effect.
And you guys cashed.
And we cashed, yeah.
I mean, that's the smart play, because the series is not
already
over.
Up.
The series is not over, but
man,
it's 3.5 times to 1. But yeah, it could have been a big payout for. And listen,
but if they lose that game, you guys would have had to ride the rest of the way. It would have been toast at that point.
Oh well, you got a 0. Yeah. When they went down 1-0, the cash out was 0.
Yeah.
So that's how much changed. But going back, if Miami's going to have a chance, and I still listen, they made it ugly. And I think Denver's going to wake up at some point, and it's going to be a blowout. And I think that's the next game. They're favored by 2.5 on the road. I think it's minus 135 money line, but minus 2.5. I think Denver spanks them. Now, I thought they're the better team the whole way along. Every game's been a little tougher. I didn't think the series you could bet it straight up. I think you were giving up almost 4-1 odds. Didn't make sense. So I took them in 5 games. I took them in 4 games. It was plus 460, I believe, and plus 520. So still a lot of value if they can win game 3 and then really put the pressure on Miami.
Yeah, and listen, Denver had majority of leads in that game. They gave it away. Jamal Murray had a really good look at the end of the game. He just didn't
Yeah.
convert. Denver definitely. I'm with Barney. Been the better team. I like actually Denver -1.5 plus 125. What do you think about it? Is there any value in that, Barney?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think so. Listen, I'm going to go back to the better team and the better player. And Jokic, it doesn't surprise me. He puts up another 40 as a
He does it
triple-double.
so easy.
It really is ridiculous when he's in the paint, how easy it makes it. It's like, just give him the 2 points and get out there. The thing is, if they can't shoot threes, that's what separates teams for big spreads. They don't shoot a ton or make a ton. But when Jokic has it in the paint, it's an easy 2.
It is. It's going to be interesting, and we'll talk about it more later on this week when we find out what happens in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. And, of course, those lines are always at Bet99. But let's get into the RBC Canadian Open. Our good pal AB is going to be down there tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, maybe Friday and Sunday.
And listen to this, Barney. What are you going to be doing there tomorrow?
Playing a hole, man.
You hear this?
So, yeah. So,
what?
Yeah. So another sports book, which I won't name,
Mm-hmm.
they have a hole there. It's called Hole 0, and it's a small par 3 that you can play. You book your tee times. You can play in front of fans, and apparently some players are going to be there. And I guess it's closest to the pin, and there's a contest where you can win $75,000. So we're going to film it. So I'll show you guys. Embarrassing myself.
My biggest question is, are there fans lining the hole?
That's what I hope they have nets. I hope they have nets.
Yeah, I will say I was not golfing. We're at a simulator in Montreal when we were doing stuff with Georges Larac. And AV's got a hell of a swing, so I'm not worried.
But that was before the broken hand. So
that's true. He did break his hand playing playing at an elite level of soccer.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to ask you how you did it. I had my own guesses, but
beer league soccer, I collided with some fat dude and my hand broke.
Oh,
it's not even a good story. But anyway, I haven't touched a golf club in about 7 weeks, 7 weeks. So.
I can't imagine Georges Larac having a hell of a swing.
No. What did he tell us? He shot a 217.
He played one full round of golf and he shot over 200. Yeah, but when he connects, he can get to it. We're working on his swing, so don't worry.
Best line ever was PJ Stock a few years ago. He goes, George, I can't believe you're a vegan. He's like, I'm a vegan. He goes, 50 pounds of chickpeas is still 50 pounds.
Him and GSP were going back and forth a lot.
They were
great.
They're having a great time. When that content's going to be coming out soon. It was a lot of fun working with them in Montreal. But so for the Canadian Open, let's get into that. Albert, you have some picks. Barney, I assume you have some talk. But Oakdale, I've seen it on TV. I haven't played it, but I've seen it. Looks mint. Apparently the rough is up. Apparently the setup's very good.
Yeah, going with U.S. Open rough.
Yeah,
essentially.
Well, and that's great because they're prepping for the following week. That's how you get guys out there. The one thing I'll say, I've played that area of golf, and what I mean is it's a little area in Toronto where it's kind of on the Don River. There's lots of golf courses in there, other private ones as well. And one thing I note is it's usually shorter, but it's also very, very tight.
Right.
And is there anything, from your guys' perspective, Barney, I'll start with you, that you think might fit that got to keep it in the fairway? If not, you're going to hack it out, that type of style of golf. Basically, U.S. Open golf.
I still think the long hitters here, Cameron Young, Hatton, Rory's won it twice. Yep. Not there, obviously, but from all accounts and everything that I've listened to on the Golf Channel and reading, playing really short, a lot of downhills, and you know the area better than I do, but courses that I've played in the area, there's a lot of undulation, but a lot of downhill tee shots. So I'm still going to go to the guy that can hit it 310, 320 and hack out a wedge, because all the pros were talking a lot of drivers, a lot of wedges into the green. So I think expect low scoring. A guy like Rory that hits it so well, but I don't know, with everything that's going on the PGA Tour, and he was kind of the poster boy for them. He's going to have to answer a lot of questions with the media the next couple of days. Yeah. How does that affect him? So I'm leaning towards like a Hatton, who's probably second or third favorite, and a guy like Cameron Young, who bombs the ball and a really good player.
Well, I think it was this time last year when the Live Tour, that whole thing started happening, and it was at the RBC Canadian Open, and Rory ended up winning it, and it was almost like he did it to prove a point.
Yeah, it was him and JT and Finau in the final three.
That's right.
It was so
Finau.
exciting. People going up the fairway, and it's like PGA Tour.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah,
was riding in on like a white horse with the flag for the PGA Tour.
It could be a distraction, and let's be honest, like Rory hasn't been great either, right? So there's that as well. But I'm with Barney. Listen, a ton of elevation changes, stick rough. The long hitters probably will do well, but I think you also got to look at guys who are dialed in with their irons. I'm looking at Terrell Hatton as well. Maybe a Justin Rose. I think I have him on here as well, 17-1. So guys who've been doing pretty well this season with their irons, I think can do well here.
Yeah,
just ride in on a camel this year though. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, I am less inclined now that you mentioned all this with Liv to be on. I just got what that meant. Anyway, so yeah, no, Phil Mickelson. But anyway, so I'm less inclined to be on McElroy. I was on McElroy at his short odds of what, plus 480 or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually going to bet, but that was my pick.
Right.
Yeah.
But now I'm less inclined. I think you're right. I think he's going to be cheesed about it. I would be. I know. I said it in the first segment. I still think they would have called him. They would have called Tiger.
Yeah.
They would have said, "Guys, are you okay with this?" They would have maybe been involved with a lot of that conversation. But still, he's going to have to answer the question of like, "All right, you hated these guys. What are you going to do now?"
Yeah.
And he's going to have to deal with that.
He's got to do a ton of media, and that's the questions that are going to be asked.
Yeah.
I've been in those union meetings before, and today's going to be contentious because, yeah, I'm sure he knew. I'm sure Tiger knew. But I don't know how you announce something like this without your whole membership knowing.
Yeah.
Like, how don't you have a Zoom call and a conference call? It's like finding out you're traded on Twitter. It's just not right. It's not right. And it should have been handled differently. Even if the big guys knew, they're all a part of the PGA Tour, the pay dues, and are part of that whole thing. So that's a little disappointing. And I'm really curious how this all unfolds. It's, again, money solves everything in most business. So they're going to make more money, but in the short term, I'm very curious for the quotes that's going to come out. They're already trickling in with Morikawa and Phil.
Yeah.
Different sides, but there's going to be some juicy ones.
If the PGA Tour guys are upset, and Monahan, the commissioner, can be like, well, so what? Where are you going to go?
Now, yeah.
Where are you going to go?
Go to Live?
We got everything now.
We got them all.
You know what I mean? So they're in such a shitty situation, honestly.
It really, I mean, for guys who play golf for a living and make millions of dollars, they're in a terrible
Well,
situation.
we're not talking about the top end guys. But about, you know.
No, I agree. I did like a lot what Liv forced the PGA Tour to do, which was like give these guys minimum salaries and all that stuff as well. We wanted to get quickly into Alek Manoah. Barney, you've been all over him. That household. I don't know if you got a shirt getting made or what's going on, but he has not been good to you.
Oh no, it's coming, boys. It is coming. I bet him yesterday. I said at some point he has to return to form. He pitched a third of an inning.
I know.
And got grand slam walks like he's lost confidence.
You gotta feel bad. You gotta feel bad for the guy.
He tried to blow a ball foul. Like that's where we're at.
You feel horrible. Feel horrible for a guy. Anyone that's been in any business and you've lost confidence, it's tragic to watch. It's a train wreck, a car wreck before it happens. You see it coming. It's like you're watching the picture, looking away. I was turning the remote every few seconds to try to give him a little karma. Nope. Turn it back on. Boom. Out of the park. 6-0. At this point, I know how hard it is. Send him to AA. Send him down and have him pitch and get his confidence back. Right now, he can't pitch in the majors, and he said it. I'm trying not to throw balls, and I have to try to throw strikes. And when you throw strikes, they're just meatballs right down the middle of the plate.
I wonder if the move is to send him away, not even pitch, just to send him away, like not think about baseball, think about pitching.
I think an IL stand saying, "Oh, his shoulder hurts a little bit. Go down to Dunedin and do some bullpen sessions and chill."
And I think John Schneider and Pete Walker have done all they can possibly do. I think it's probably down to Ross Atkins now. You got to send him down, and you got to make a move. You got to bring in a pitcher. You got to do something.
Send him to Moncton for a week with the team I had. He won't think about baseball.
Yeah, really.
That's probably what he needs, right? Just to completely get away, not think about anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, listen, this guy was second in Cy Young voting. He started the All-Star game last season. He was the pitcher for them in the wild card in the first game. Like, this is a top tier guy. You don't just lose your stuff.
No.
This isn't Space Jam. Like it's there. It's just he's completely rattled. I feel bad. Like it's emotional watching the guy like that. You can tell he just has no answers.
Yeah. It's tough, especially for a guy who does a lot of talking too. And I love that.
That's
fire.
the thing too. He's getting a lot of stick for that.
But anyway, what are you gonna do? Yeah. It's not like you can do in hockey, Barney, as you know. He can't just drop his glove and start throwing balls.
No,
he would love to.
He would love to right now. Just charge the plate.
Right now, he'd be fighting himself and he'd lose. That's where he's at right now.
The Nolan Ryan with the headlock and the zap.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd probably love that. It's true. I feel for the guy though, and hopefully he figures it out soon.
All right, we got to fly. I'm going to Vancouver tomorrow. I'm going to be into UFC 289 with Georges St. Pierre with Bet99. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys are going to be hosting this show on Thursday. I'll be back Tuesday and Thursday to do a quick hit if you need me. If not, you guys are going to have a great time. Barney, you've been away. You're in Moncton. Quick story there. One of your teammates had a little bit of a run-in.
Yeah, great time. Raised almost $1 million for the Heart and Stroke. Great people. I always make it a mainstay on my schedule. But I was with the team, half from Moncton, half were guys that were from Toronto, some young kids that drove the 16 hours to be a part of the event. And we went out every night. It was a great time. Great, like I said, great people, great cause. But one of our guys had a little too much one night. He separated from the group, two of them, and ended up walking in to the wrong Airbnb with a man and his wife who called the cops, and they came and arrested him, brought him in, and he's like, "Do you know Matthew Barnaby?" And he's like, "Yeah, the old hockey player." He's like, "Yeah, he can vouch for." He's like, "I think you have to do a little better than that one at 5 a.m. So they ended up bringing him back to his Airbnb, rang the doorbell probably 30 times. They let him in, and obviously everything was fine. It was a mistake. He missed the door by 2 doorbells. Yeah. So, but yeah, he made it for our 8 o'clock game, though.
Hey, he's a gamer. Good for him.
Gamer.
Good for him. Glad to hear. Glad he had a good time. And so I'll be off to Vancouver. I'll leave you guys to it. It's going to be fantastic. Albert Vartanian and Matthew Barnaby, co-hosts here on The Parlay Show. I'm Rob Conway in Toronto. Enjoy the games coming up, and we will see you. Well, I'll see you next week. These boys will see you on Thursday.